Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You guys just take a look around and network with your other 400 closest business partners in the region. Isn't this wonderful? Thank you all for coming. Thank you to those who crossed state lines, county lines to come today. We are so excited to share with you our accomplishments for 2023, and we'll introduce our new board members and go over the future for the chamber. But my name is Haymore Sparks, and I'm the president and CEO of the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce. And it's my pleasure to kick off this meeting. We're also recording the meeting so our members can experience this on their own schedule. We'll also be posting it to our website, dpchamber.org. Today, we will review 2023 accomplishments, meet your chamber board of directors, give you a strategic plan progress report, and look ahead to 2024. Linda Green, Vice President of Economic Development here at the Institute, and Todd Haymore, Managing Director of Global Impact, Commerce, and Government Relations for Hunton Andrews Kurth, will deliver the keynote address on the growth of the region with a focus on foreign and domestic trade. We also have some very special guests with us today that you will meet later. But first, I want to thank our sponsors. And Stephen, if you and your group will stand, thank you to PLDR, our presenting sponsor. Please stand. And to our signature sponsors, John Holshouser, stand up with JTI, please. Anybody with JTI? Gateway Health, Sova Health, and the Lester Group. Is the Lester Group here? Thank you so much. Today, I have the honor of introducing someone who's been instrumental in my growth, my personal growth, and the Chamber's growth. The 2023 Chamber Chair, Hunter Burns of Infinity Global, who will give us his insights on the many accomplishments of your chamber in the past year. Hunter?
Good morning. I don't believe I've ever seen this room quite so crowded, and I thank everybody for coming this morning, but especially for Ann and Christy and Crystal, who have organized all of this. If we could give them all a round of applause. This past year has been another exciting year of growth and transformation for the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce. Ann, Christy, and Crystal, who I've already mentioned, are a talented and dedicated team. This formidable trio has been very busy expanding our membership base, our innovation partners, our program offerings, and our networking opportunities. All three are focused on serving our broad base of membership and geography. We have hosted events in all parts of Danville and Pittsylvania County throughout 2023. Our strategic vision for the Chamber to be recognized as the premier advocate for business and industry in the region has taken major strides forward this year, and we are poised to continue our progress. We have a dedicated board of directors and staff that are harnessing our relationships and resources to support and engage businesses and industry, always keeping our core values: excellence, integrity, collaboration, and innovation at the forefront. As we look ahead to 2024, we see new opportunities to engage our membership and help transform our region. Our diverse board reflects the traditional and modern businesses that are investing in the fertile region of Danville and Pittsylvania County, and our staff is poised to take advantage of these opportunities. On behalf of the board, of the Chamber staff, thank you for the Chamber membership. Your support of our mission and programs enriches fellow member businesses and bolsters the continued success of the revitalization of our expanding business community. 2024 promises to be an even better year for the Chamber and the region. None of this would have been possible without you, our members, and I want to thank you for being a Chamber member and supporting its mission. The Chamber has a vital role in making our community a great place for you to do business. It has been a pleasure and privilege to serve as the chair of the Board of Directors while working alongside Ann, Christy, Crystal, and the Board of Directors. I'd like to now recognize our innovation partners, all of whom are recognized leaders in the business community and understand that the Chamber is an effective vehicle helping position Danville and Pittsylvania County as one of the best examples of resilience, perseverance, and reinvention in Virginia. The partners are, and if you will please call one stand, even though some of y'all just stood up a second ago, Sova Health. Thank you. The Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. URW Federal Credit Union. American National Bank and Trust. Averett University. Dewberry. Danville Toyota. PLDR Law. Caesars. ServPro. Martinsville Speedway. EBI. Gateway Health. First Piedmont. Intertape Polymer Group. JTI. Blue Ridge Fiberboard. First National Bank. Association of Energy Engineers. Danville Community College. First Citizens Bank. Hitachi. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. Letterpress Communications. River District Consulting. And Gen Edge. That is a very impressive group, and I appreciate Christy and Crystal how long that list is. So again, thank you. We also value our media partners and thank you and them for showcasing our members and helping tell the Chamber's story throughout the year. Thank you to the Danville Register and Bee, Lakes Media, Piedmont Broadcasting, Chatham Star Tribune, and Rudy's Girl Media. And finally, I'd like to recognize our outgoing board members for their years of service. When I call your name, please come forward and accept a token of our appreciation. Mike Jones of Intertape, 8 years. I didn't see Mike at first. I thought that maybe he said 8 years is enough. Ann's not going to let him go. John Settle, retired from American National Bank, 6 years. R.J. Weaver, First National Bank, 7 years. Tammy Wright Warren. She's got 2 W&W Luxury Limousine and the Grill. If there are any former Chamber board members in attendance this morning, please stand and be recognized. I know there are a lot out there. There we go. Also, if you are an elected official, if you would please rise so that you may be recognized. Before I pass the torch on, I'd like to openly praise and thank Ann, Crystal, and Christy for your tremendous work. Your work ethic, what you have done in such a short period of time is remarkable, and I personally thank you very, very much. And in my first act as immediate past chair of the Chamber, I will now turn this meeting over to Varun Sadhana of the Launch Place.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Hunter. It's an honor to follow you as a chair of the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce. You have done an outstanding job in a busy time and helped bring this chamber to precise of exciting and productive future. Your service is not only valued, but also admired by your fellow board members and personally me. It'll be big shoes to fill, but I will strive to continue your standard of leadership. On behalf of the board and the membership, please accept our award of recognition for your services. I was telling Hunter he can hide, but he cannot run away from us. We'll still be bugging him. You know what makes my job role as a director here easier? It's an incredible team and an outstanding and dedicated board of directors at our chamber. I'm not alone here. So let's recognize our 2024 Board of Directors. Please stand and be recognized. Shannon Hare, DCC Education Foundation, incoming chair. Dave Combo, Goodyear Tires and Rubber Company, vice chair. Christine Markowitz, SOA Health and treasurer. Hunter Bruns, Infinity Global, immediate past chair. Chris Albert, Caesars, Virginia. Robert Bonichter, XR. Brian Bradner, Drewberry. Dan Davis. Rachel Decampo, Gatewood, River District Consulting. Mary Hammock, Farm Credit of Virginia. Dr. Mark Jones, Pittsylvania County Schools. Philip Conicus, Intertape Polymer Group. Angelica Medzek, EBI. Beverly Scruggs, American National Bank. Scott Waller, Truist Wealth. Kristen Walsham. And Charlie Waden, Columbia Forest Products. And of course, it'll be an injustice if we don't recognize a team here at Chamber. On behalf of the board, we'd like to recognize our Chamber staff who have worked hard this year and continue to provide an ambitious roster of programs and services for 2024 for our members. Christy Harper, Director of Members Engagement. Crystal Hairston, Director of Operations. And of course, Haymore Sparks, President and CEO. Thank you all. Let's focus on future of our Chamber of Commerce. As Hunter mentioned, the Chamber completed a strategic plan in 2022. I firmly believe this plan positions the Chamber to support this business community and responds to the needs of members during the time when our region is rapidly growing and moving forward. The plan is to build Chamber's values, which includes be excellent, act with integrity, embrace individuality, focus on collaboration, be an innovator, and perhaps the most important one, provide value. The plan has 4 priority areas: business advocacy, business support, leadership development, and brand sustainability. A more strategic plan progress report can be found in our annual report. Copies of annual reports are also located on the front desk. It's also available on Chamber's website and can be viewed by clicking on QR code on your table, I believe. Enough about Chamber now. Stephen Good with PLDR will now say a few words and introduce our keynote speaker. As you all know, they are also our presenting sponsor. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. As Varun mentioned, my name is Stephen Gould. I'm an attorney with PLDR, and I have the privilege to chair our transactional practice group. PLDR was created January 1st through the merger of Sova Legal and the Lynchburg firm of Petty, Livingston, Dawson, and Richards. We are a 16-attorney full-service law firm with locations here in Danville in the River District and in Lynchburg. As our region continues to grow, it is important that we are home to a firm that can support that growth and grow along with the region itself. And for our firm, it is a no-brainer to be not only a member of, but actively engaged with this chamber and supporting the great work that it does to continue the economic progress and cultural progress that we continue to see in our region. Our keynote speakers today are 2 individuals who truly need no introduction with this audience. Todd Haymore, Managing Director of Global Impact, Commerce, and Government Relations for Hunton Andrews Kurth LLP, and Linda Green, Vice President of Economic Development here at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. Todd and Linda will present the keynote on the growth of the region with a focus on foreign and domestic trade. Todd, as most of you know, is a native of our region. He served as Secretary of Commerce and Trade under Governor Terry McAuliffe and Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry under Governor Bob McDonnell as well as Governor McAuliffe. Prior to that, Todd served as the Commissioner of Agriculture and Consumer Services for the Commonwealth. Linda also serves as the Executive Director of the Southern Virginia Regional Alliance and is serving a term as President of the Virginia Economic Developers Association. She also represents our region incredibly well on the Commonwealth Transportation Board. Without further ado, we'll invite Linda and Todd to come up to present this morning's keynote.
Good morning. That wasn't very loud. Good morning. I want to thank you for inviting Todd and me to speak this morning. It's quite an honor. In December, Ann Moore Sparks approached me about addressing the Chamber membership's annual meeting. I was honored to accept, and that started as a simple task, and it grows from there. I want to thank Hunter, Varun, and Ann for trusting us to take a slight detour on this morning's program. Ann knew that I would share the achievements of this region. I'm incredibly proud of the 28 new companies and 32 expansions that our economic developers have brought into this region. That includes 5,455 jobs and over $1.6 billion in capital investment. So please, a hand for our economic developers. More importantly, to all the business people in this room, the gross domestic product in this area is growing because of their extremely strong work. In advanced manufacturing alone, there's been a 5.7% annual growth rate on average over the last 10 years in this area because of the exemplary work that's being done in advanced manufacturing training and the work of these economic developers. That's more than almost double what the nation's doing. They're at a 3.3% rate. This region, 5.7% rate. So it's great to be on the leading edge of growth. As a former economic development professional, Ann was understanding when in January I mentioned a slight change, but I had an idea if she and her team would trust me. In economic development, every day that we work is a little bit different. There's no routine day in this job, and our schedules often shift. When there's an opportunity, you seize it. You ask for it to change. That's precisely what happened when Todd Haymore, representing the international law firm Hunton, Kurth, expressed his desire to bring the Embassy of Japan to tour our region, focusing on the Southern Virginia megasite and learning about the exceptional training that's going on at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research and the growth in our region. So over the next weeks, Ann worked with me and we adjusted the program for this morning to showcase our region's uniqueness to the Embassy's honored guest. In addition, they toured Hitachi, they will tour JTI and the megasite, and they will meet with 2 prospective companies that are linked to the Japanese country and what they can do when they come to this region. More importantly, they are learning about the real reason that we are special, the power of regional collaboration, and the exceptional business leaders like the group that's here, and we could not think of a better way for them to see it than to join this chamber breakfast. They have learned about the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research, and they're gathering to celebrate with you another exceptional year of businesses working together through the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce to achieve great things. Many years ago, I was told that if you wanted to truly understand a community, you should ask the most politically savvy constitutional officer in that region. You should reach out to the clerk of court. They earn their seat by serving the people and building relationships. I am convinced that H.F. Haymore, our former Pittsylvania County Clerk of Court, and his lovely wife, Faye, have paved the way for Todd Haymore's success in politics, business, and economic development. Just as Todd with his extensive network has exposed our community to people around the globe. We all emphasize the importance of economic development to a region's prosperity, and today we are honored to be joined by one of the Commonwealth's and our region's greatest economic development champions, Todd Haymore.
Linda, thank you. That was very, very kind. In fact, I probably should just sit down and be quiet the rest of the time. It's all downhill from here. In the mode of changes that have occurred, and thank you for your willingness to adapt and dance on the head of a pin. I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to say a few things towards the end and introduce a special guest that is here that Linda referenced from the Japanese Embassy in Washington, D.C. But because the success of this region, and I can tell you, I have never been more proud to call myself a Danville, Pittsylvania County native than, thank you. It's probably one of my friends from GW getting ready to say something bad about me. Mike Jones, you stay right where you are. I don't want to hear anything out of you either. Scott Waller, you too. It's dangerous up here. Because this has the opportunity to be such a transformative year for Danville, Pennsylvania County, obviously with the casino getting ready to open this year, the White Mill coming online and having hopefully hundreds and maybe thousands of people coming in and out every day. And I'm convinced that this year is the year for the mega site to not only be talked about as one of the premier sites in America for economic development, but also to be the home of a transformational project. So because this is a transformational year, has the potential to be a transformational year, and all the success that has been had here, and Linda touched on it during her remarks, I want to ask Corrie, Bobe, and Matt Rowe to come up and join us because they are at the forefront of what's taking place here and the successes that have taken place and working as a team. Linda touched on this. Economic development is constantly changing. You have to adapt. You have to be ready to change in a moment's notice. But it is the ultimate team sport. It is the ultimate team sport. And but every team has to have leaders. Every team has to have a quarterback, a starting pitcher, whatever sports metaphor you want to bring into it. And Corrie and Matt are those leaders. So come on up and join us. And Linda and I are going to have a little bit of a discussion with them about not only about economic development, the successes, but also the things that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis that all of us have to deal with in economic development. So just a good chance to bring things really closer to home to the people that are leading the effort each and every day. So, Linda? Actually, I guess, yeah, I think I'll go first based on, Matt, I'll throw this one to you. Every time that we see a release coming out of Pittsylvania County, if it's not about a project or jobs, there is about the county working collaboratively with the city or on its own to get another certified site. Explain to the audience here today why it is so important to be site ready, to be business ready, but to have those certified sites, no matter how small, ranging from 5 or 6 acres up to obviously the 3,000 plus at the mega site.
Sure, thank you, Todd. That's a great question. It's really, the simple answer is about confidence. It's all about making a business feel confident in a particular site. Good, bad, or indifferent, Corrie and myself, and really any and every economic developer, we're glass half full people. You have to be in this job. And so a company typically also wants to have the data to be able to show and demonstrate and frankly validate that the due diligence has been done for a certain site in order to, again, eliminate potential risks that they may incur as they go through the development of the site. So one of the things that we've been very active in is working with our state partners on VBRSP. It's the Virginia Business Ready Sites Program. And Secretary Haymore, and you will always be our secretary, you were instrumental in being able to get that program through, and so we're very appreciative of you and your efforts. If I'm not mistaken, Linda, I believe that Southern Virginia currently has the highest ratio of actual shovel-ready sites. So even though Corrie and I are up here in front of you as residents and citizens of the Dan River region, we really need to express our thanks to you and to our elected officials and to the decision makers that ultimately decided that, hey, we're going to invest heavily in sites to make sure that they're site ready and permitted and ready to go. And so that's really one of the key aspects of that. With regards to size and the criteria of sites, when I see a company come, it really is almost like Goldilocks, right? You're trying to find the right bed, the right soup, and so it's all about being able to have the options that companies need in order to allow them to get to speed to market faster. And so there's numerous certifications. So of course we're extremely proud of the fact, again, that we have highest certified sites in the state through the actual state program, the VBRSP program. But then you also have private certifications such as Quest Site Solutions, which we recently got as a certification for the mega site and the super park at the mega site in 2021. And then you also have, for example, our utility partners. They recognize very unique sites when it comes to rail. So Norfolk Southern has a certification process. AEP for power has a certification process. NBC, Mid-Lake Broadband has a certification for data centers. So again, it's all about being able to have that data to be able to give companies the confidence that they can come in seamlessly into a market. And I can tell you that this region has done a fantastic job. And as just one of the professional team members here, we express our thanks to each and every one of you.
Matt, just to close on that thought, and you were kind to mention the Virginia Business Ready Sites program. There's been historic investments made in that by the state government over the last 2 administrations. And I was recently quoted in the Richmond Times-Dispatch about we're finally in the game because we are making those investments at the state level. Our taxpayer dollars going to work back for us. But please know, I also said that we were way behind our neighbors. In fact, I think for every $1 for every $1 invested by the state of Virginia right now for site improvements to be business ready, to be shovel ready, there's $8 of requests. So we're in the game. We're finally doing the things that need to be done because of our competitor states, but we've still got a long ways to go. So thanks you all for everything that you're doing.
Todd, this is another area where Danville, Pittsylvania County and this surrounding region leads the state. The certifications, the work that they're doing, but this started with a group of leaders that benchmarked the best practices around the country and brought those to this team, including this building, but including the workforce programs and moving the needle forward for this. Recently, Matt and Corrie brought in site selector team to assess what they were doing and really grade them, tell them how they could be better with it, who were the best mega sites in the state, and how would they benchmark that themselves. One of the things, Matt and Corrie, that I remember them constantly talking about was the terms money, risk, and time, and that you excel above all sites at the mega site in the country because of your money, risk, and time factors. Corrie and then Matt, would you comment a little bit to this audience on what money, risk, and time mean to the mega site and why that makes you exemplary?
Absolutely. Each company that we work with, whether it's at the mega site or in one of our traditional industrial parks, are looking at how they can begin operations smoothly and quickly. How can they begin generating revenue for their company? And that goes back to the community's commitment and diversifying the types of sites we have available, preparing them, ensuring they're certified, ensuring that our utility partners are on board to make upfront investments to ensure that each company has access to the appropriate capacities and they can begin operations smoothly. We've also had substantial support from our state elected officials. I have not seen Delegate Marshall here, but especially related to the Southern Virginia mega site, he spearheaded several pieces of legislation in order to ensure we were ready to go when a company came to visit. One was ensuring that our utility provider, our electric provider, AEP, had the legal ability to invest in utility infrastructure at the site, invest in a 299 megawatt substation at the site ahead of gaining a customer contract. And that was passed, and thankfully we are one of the few sites that has ready to go access to utility infrastructure, substantial electric infrastructure. He also spearheaded stormwater legislation. So as we all know, that is a state regulated permit. So if you disturb land, you do have to go to the Department of Environmental Quality in order to get a stormwater permit, which could take several weeks to several months, depending on their capacity. There was legislation passed where localities could take on that evaluation and that permitting process. The city of Danville took on that administrative requirement, and through Delegate Marshall's leadership, we are now extending that service to our regional parks in Pittsylvania County. So that substantially reduces their time to begin building their facility. So time, risk, money, it all comes down to every element that goes into evaluating a site, constructing a facility, training your workforce, and beginning operations. A great example, we've heard horror stories in the past where just something as simple as zoning has gotten in the way of the timelines for a manufacturer to begin operations. Thankfully, Pittsylvania County has already put into place the appropriate zoning at the mega site to ensure that all of our targeted industries are by right, so they have the immediate ability to begin operations on that site. I mean, this could be a very contentious process. We've heard stories where in other communities, residents come who are not in favor of that type of zoning practice, that type of industry, and it could delay not only by months, but sometimes even years for that project to move forward.
Yeah, Corrie did a great job overviewing, that money, risk, time component. I'm a data person, so at the end of the day, it comes down to just simply 16 months. If a company comes to you and you're in the mega site business, they are wanting to know whether or not you have plans in place and you can confidently get them the services and infrastructure and the site development that is needed to be done in 16 months. If you can't do that, they're going to the next community. And we are probably right now at this point, seriously, probably one of the few sites in the country. There's a site in the western part of the country in Nevada. It's a desert. It's a lot easier to move dirt than it is, our type of land that can compete with us. And so at this point in time, this journey, I think, with money, risk, and time was really made apparent when we actually had a Japanese company that was looking at the site. It was Toyota Mazda in 2017, 2018. And when they came and knocked on our door at the time, it was 28 months. Because of our site, the infrastructure that Corrie mentioned, we made it into the finals in that situation, but we learned a very valuable lesson. We have to do everything we can proactively to reduce money, time, and risk. So when we're competing against other communities, and we consistently compete against them in the Southeast, we have over $200 million invested into the site. If we're competing against someone else, then they have to put that money in themselves. That creates risk. It creates political risk, operational risk. Now, with that $200 million that I mentioned, I'm really proud to say that only around $33 million of that is actual local tax dollar monies. We've done a very good job as a region in leveraging assets. And then finally, as Corrie had mentioned, really on the risk side, when you have to extend, for example, gas lines and water lines and whatnot to sites, you're dependent upon the actions of someone else. So thankfully for us, we already have all of those assets in place. So we really are able to control our own destiny. So I agree with Secretary Haymore and his comments. I think 2024 is the year because we have finally been able to seriously get down to 16 to 12 months, and not many communities can do that.
And I'd like to add with that 200 million and the 33 invested of that at the local level, we do have to thank so many partners. The mega site began development prior to this larger state funding being available. So we did have to develop strategic relationships with not only our elected officials in Danville and Pittsylvania County, but reaching across state lines into North Carolina. North Carolina, the city of Eden have utility infrastructure funding invested to support our site here in Virginia. Of course, Danville Utilities, the Tobacco Commission from day one has invested in planning and the extension of utility infrastructure, AEP, Southwestern Virginia Gas, and the list goes on and on. VDOT, if you head out on Route 311, there's a lot of construction taking place. You'll see a pathway of trees that have been timbered and a roadway being constructed, our connector road to lessen time to the park. So there has been substantial investment from a lot of individuals over the past 12 years to ensure that we are best accommodating industry to locate to the site.
Corrie and Matt, thank you. And to that point of money, risk, and time, Governor Bob McDonnell told us when we assembled as a cabinet for the first time in 2010 that as best possible in government, we needed to think about moving at the speed of business, Matt, what you just described, Danville, Pittsylvania County, I think is probably as close to humanly possible as now moving at the speed of business. We are ready here, so it's a great, I was reflecting on that time, so thanks for that, because it does show that these particularly, and you mentioned 2017, the loss, Toyota Mazda, and all the work that we did, including flying to Japan to recruit them, but not being able to move at the speed of business, not being able to move in their time frame is an important note. We're there now. So, Corrie, come back around to you. We hear a lot of words about revitalization or new vitalization of the Danville region. Talk to us a little bit about that and the role that those phrases are playing here now.
Sure. It's quite funny. When I began in my career in economic development about 14 years ago and going to association meetings and to workshops, it was really focused heavily on industrial development, site development, industrial recruitment. And that was really all that we talked about. And then somehow over the years, sprinkling of downtown revitalization came into play, or quality of life was mentioned here and there. And it's really interesting to see how those, what used to be thought as soft components of a community, have become very prominent in the recruitment process, in the success of being able to bring in additional industry or assisting existing industry to grow. Leading up to with Linda as president of the VEDA board, the Virginia Economic Developers Association board, this year's focus is on the intersection of economic and community development, highlighting that it is incredibly important to make your community attractive. That way, we can guarantee that an industry, when they're locating here or growing, can attract the appropriate talent to their facility and keep that talent over the long haul. And so we have to give a lot of credit, especially in the city of Danville with our city council members and city administration here, to have the vision of reinvesting in quality of life assets, whether it's through our Parks and Recreation Department or through what is now recognized as a national award-winning river district. In 2011, we began heavily investing in our historic downtown. So going to the revitalization, taking former textile and tobacco buildings, converting them into new lofts, new breweries, restaurants, entertainment venues. Over this period of time, the community, whether it's through our existing budget or through access to grant funding, has invested about $52 million in improvements within that area. However, it's attracted over $360 million of new private sector investment just to that core, the heart of our community. What does this mean? Well, this has now become an attracting factor. When we bring in CEOs and companies to visit our community, we take them into our river district to showcase that if they locate here, if their employees locate here, they have access to quality of life amenities that they can find in larger cities. We have This helps fill in the blank on some of our housing needs within the community by offering urban lifestyle, urban living options. Todd had mentioned new vitalization, which is a new term. So now that we're seeing success in historic district revitalization and historic properties being converted, now how do we provide infill opportunities, so new construction opportunities, as well as piecing in green spaces, public parks. If you drive downtown right now, you'll see pretty much the entire south banks of the river under construction with the Dan River Falls project, which is historic redevelopment underway, around an $86 million investment next to our $15 million 5-acre riverfront park, so new construction. So this has really helped become an attracting factor for our community.
Todd, thank you for coining a new phrase for Danville, Pittsylvania, new vitalization. I love it. So with that, Matt and Corrie, will you talk a little bit about the importance of domestic growth and what that's meant to our community, but also the advantages of business retention and expansion, and then how does that lead into foreign direct investment?
Sure. So I'll just kind of jump in on on this question. 2020 was a very important year. It was a very impactful year for all of us. Obviously, we had this thing called COVID. And with all of the horrors that came along with COVID, what really happened in the economic sense is that it actually sped up something that was already happening, which was the shortening of supply chains. And so we as a community are very well positioned for domestic products and projects as reshoring occurs, but also as the supply chains continue to shorten, everyone's following that Amazon fulfillment model. They want to be in a mid-major urban area that can get access to the populations, and we are very well positioned for that. And so I start that off saying that I would say that probably from my perspective, the lowest hanging fruit really is working with our domestic companies. I would say from my experience in my career, 80% of all announced projects and unannounced projects, because sometimes companies don't want to get the credit of the actions that they're taking for various reasons, come from companies that are already in your community. And this community in particular has done a tremendous job in being able to take advantage of that. And the reason being is because if you have a supportive ecosystem that is supportive for domestic companies, it should certainly also be attractive then for those that are outside of the community from a business dynamic sense. And so, for example, our domestic efforts have resulted in companies here in the U.S. Locating in our community recently. Tyson Foods being one of them, and again, right, they're following the same model of getting close to customers. Morgan Olson, again, right, making sure that they're building the walk-in step vans that are really, helping fuel this fulfillment model with their various customers. And then the ultimate goal in any community, and of course I have to mention Amthor International up in Gretna, where Brian and that team, I've worked with them 3 times on expansions and Stanton River Plastics. So again, the list goes on and on. But the real goal in any community is to get that foreign direct investment, because it really validates what that community is doing from an outside perspective. And I would say that the highest hierarchy is where you can make what was a foreign direct investment company or opportunity into a domestic opportunity. And I would say that this community, again, has excelled at that with Intertape Polymer Group. A Canadian company came in 1987, and I've worked with that company personally now, I think, Mike and David on, 4 or 5 different projects, and so we're extremely thankful. Another great company, Axor, right? You've got Robert Boringter on the actual chamber board, a Netherlands-based company, and has recently done an expansion. And so it's very important to ensure that we're always creating a welcoming community that is attractive not only for our domestic suppliers, but if it's attractive for our domestic suppliers, it will inevitably also be attractive for foreign direct investment. And again, I applaud all of you for creating a business community and a living community that is, such a way. So thank you for that.
in addition to the points that Matt has made, there is laser focus on our existing industry, not only in Danville, Pittsylvania County, in partnership with the Chamber and throughout the Southern Virginia region. And why is this? Well, first and foremost, the economy, just one word, right? The economy fluctuates continuously. There are highs, there are lows. When we're in a low, when we're in a recession, that would impact the number of companies looking for new projects or new communities to locate to. So what does the existing business create or offer? That offers that stabilization for your community. That creates that stable tax rate that will continuously be available within your community to provide your general services. It provides that stable job for your resident within the community to be able to support their family. So however we can continue to keep and grow our existing industrial or non-industrial bases here, that only helps provide that stability, a stronger community for us all. Going back to onshoring, which was one of Linda's questions, we've been reading quite a bit of articles related to Hyperion X, which is a company in Halifax County, so our neighboring community. And again, going back to Matt's point of the pandemic taught us a lot related to supply chain challenges, whether you're in the construction industry or just in general everyday operations. We also what has been highlighted is the impact on our ability to perhaps provide services through the Department of Defense or provide just general everyday items that we utilize. We understand that and I lost my train of thought for 1 minute. Through this Hyperion X project, which is a titanium supplier, that 70% of that raw material actually comes from China and Russia. So how do you lessen your dependency on that to provide better services to our military as well as our electronics companies, to our automotive industries? And so onshoring, being able to redirect that manufacturing process, redirect access to critical minerals within the United States has become very key and very apparent over the past several years.
Corrie, Matt, thanks. You and I'm so guilty of this. New job retention, the existing companies creating new jobs each and every year in Virginia and across the country are how most new jobs are created. It's not the new company coming in from someplace else. It's the existing businesses hiring more and growing. They don't get celebrated as much as they should. And again, that's why I said I'm guilty as charged, because of the things that you do to recruit the new business and industry. But make no mistake about it, the things that Danville, Pittsylvania County are doing to help existing business and industry grow are just as important or more important than the work's going on to recruit new business. All right, we'll bring this little Q&A session in for a landing with something that in each and every economic development project that I'm involved in, whether it's in Virginia or in other states across the country, these two things keep coming up, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about them this morning. When a company is looking to make an investment, particularly a new company coming into a region like Danville, Pittsylvania County, they want to talk about two things: not incentives, not tax breaks, not some of the traditional things that you would normally think about with a company coming in. They want to talk about workforce development and housing. Can you supply the talent we need, and do you have the place for them to live? Corrie, Matt, who wants to go first and talk about what you're doing there?
Do workforce?
I think
No pressure.
we'll divide and conquer. So on the housing front, that is a topic that comes up daily in conversations with existing industry as well as up to our mega site clients as they're coming in. So since we've mentioned the mega site, understanding that the end company is anticipated to employ thousands of individuals. So they want to know, well, if we bring this number of jobs to your community, where are these folks going to live? Where are employees going to live? And what type of housing diversity do you have to accommodate every price point that's needed in this operation? So we address it two ways. One, Matt will talk about the labor shed and workforce, but we do look at, depending on the job title, the job qualifications, what is available within a 45 to 60 mile radius. So for that larger client, even for our local industry, you know what your employment recruitment is or attraction is. And so we look at what is available within that 45 to 60 mile radius in terms of a housing stock. And we do showcase that with them. Well, we all know that we are very selfish and we want to capture every employee within Danville, Pittsylvania County, the Southern Virginia region. So we knew that we had to be aggressive in changing the view of new housing development and the recruitment practices related to new housing development at all stages within our community. So 2 years ago, we just threw an idea out there. Well, let's have a regional housing summit. We know that things are going great within our community. It's growing. There's momentum, as Linda had shared some of the statistics of the growth that's happened in the last 4 years. We know what's in the pipeline. We know there's going to be added demand for housing. So how can we showcase these opportunities to regional and national developers that perhaps may not have considered a mid-sized market? Prior to that, they probably would look at a Greensboro, a major metropolitan area, or a Raleigh-Durham. Well, we had a sold-out crowd the first year. We were very surprised at how interested the real estate, the housing development community, and our local partners who support the housing supply chain, the housing network. We were really shocked at the interest level from generated by that one housing summit. We had a sellout crowd again this year, and what I'm thrilled to say is that it has generated a number of new projects that are either underway or in planning at this time. I know there were around 1,400 new units, both single-family, multifamily, townhouse development, that are in the works as a result of that summit within the city of Danville. There's been a lot of, I think even a Virginia Business article I saw this morning with a lovely photo of Matt about the Axton project, which will bring online 1,900 new units near the mega site. So we are taking the same approach as industrial recruitment or downtown revitalization as we are now focusing on housing to help support that industrial growth. I will say I have to give a shout out to the City of Danville has a housing division director, Susan McCullough, who has really taken off and has been really aggressive in working with our housing development community. This past week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, has launched the new housing navigator tool on the city's website to showcase opportunities and to help keep us accountable. So what is growth looking like? So you can see the building permits that have been pulled within the City of Danville's limits. Also, through the support of city administration and city council, a new realm of housing incentives, housing development incentives have been passed to help better attract at a faster pace those housing developments. So it is incredibly important, but we have tried to be proactive in gathering information and showcasing that we are actively working with developers to fill that need.
On the workforce side, as Todd mentioned, when I first started my career, I'd get calls from site consultants and they would say, how's your site? Site. And then, good, bad, or indifferent, developed countries in general, including the United States now, we're facing a demographic issue. And this is not a political statement, it's a factual one, and the fact that the way the U.S. has been able to kind of be the abnormal developed country to continue growing has been historically through immigration. And so as that demographic shift continues to occur, now the attention from, it doesn't matter if it's a company that's already here in the U.S., and it doesn't matter if you're in Austin, Texas, or Raleigh, or any of these really perceived hot markets, it's a question that always comes up of, okay, what about your workforce? And so again, now it's 1A site, same sentence, 1B workforce. And so companies, as we already talked about, money, time, and risk, workforce is a big risk, which can cost money, which can relate and cause a lot of time issues for speed to market. And so companies are seeking out communities that have long-term strategies in place to be able to best cope with this demographic shift. And thankfully, I'm working in a community that has one. So if you take away anything from today, I want you to walk out of this room and know that we as a community have the same labor force as if somebody were to put a car plant in Metro Richmond. We have 1.3 million people within a 60-mile radius of us, which is how a project looks at the mega site. Within 45 miles radius of us, we have about a 5% growth rate. I don't want to hear any more from Southern Virginia that we have a negative growth rate. Companies don't look at us that way. They look at that surrounding radius. When you extend it out to 60 miles, guess what? We're looking at almost a 6 to 8% growth rate. We are growing. It gets to Corrie's point. Are we going to be the type of community that's going to proactively capture that growth? Or are we going to simply allow that growth to occur just 20 miles to our south? And so we have some very important questions as a community that we're having to ask, address, and have a look at what we are and what we want to be moving forward. So with that being said, we're talking about communities that are hedging against that risk. This community, Danville and Pittsylvania County, along with our state partners and Tobacco Commission, we've invested over $98 million just in our community alone. We are leading the nation in advanced manufacturing workforce programs. We have companies and embassies and governors from other states, and you name it, everyone is trying to figure out what we're doing. And the reason we are in this position are frankly due to a lot of people that are in this room that are visionary leaders that 10 years ago said, you know what, this is going to be a risk. This is our opportunity to go all in during the Great Recession, where every other community in the country is going to pull back and furlough and be scared. We're going all in because we know that this economy is going to come roaring back. We know this is going to be an issue, and we're going to get a jump on everybody else, and we're going to give ourselves 7 to 10 years of competitive advantage. And congratulations, guys. It's paying off. Congratulations.
And Todd, I know we're moving on to another topic in just a second, but we would be remiss if we didn't thank Danville Community College, Dr. Jerry Wallace, and Telly Tucker and the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. And while everybody doesn't have time to tour this morning, when you exit the parking lot, if you will turn to the right and look across the street at what's going on in advanced training for the defense manufacturing sector, how we have different resources and assets to walk every company through that comes to this area. Look at that and see the growth in front of you and know why our job's much easier.
I know we're getting long on time, but I just want to wrap this up very quickly, especially with our Japanese guests. Getting back, full circle back to Toyota Mazda. When in that 2017-2018 timeframe, Toyota Mazda, unfortunately for us, very great for them in their business model. They went to a community just outside of Huntsville, Alabama, and Limestone County. And again, we're data folks. That community highlighted that within a 5-county radius of their site, that they had around 1,500 students actively enrolled between the ages of 16 and 20 in advanced manufacturing workforce programs. If you look at our community right now, when we keep track of this every single semester, we have 3,072 students that are getting those degrees. We can't find anyone else that's better than us. And the final point I would make to Linda's comment is, and this is what really, really excites me, is that companies that are looking at our area, they don't care about enrollment. You can't hire a student to a certain degree that is enrolled. That's why that 16 to 20-year-old is very important, because they're coming out and looking for a job. But also with what the additive manufacturing team and what the U.S. Navy is doing here with that 800 to 1,000 individuals, that's like dropping in from an impact standpoint, a small college, to complement the great university, hometown university we have with Averett in our community. So you better believe as soon as that building is complete, we're going to put an extra 1,000 people on that slide, because again, we want to make sure that a company comes here and captures those people that are getting trained and makes sure that they stay right here and buy the homes that are being built in our area. So again, it's just one part of the team. Thank you for that investment. You make our jobs a whole lot easier.
Matt and Corrie, I knew that would be a great way to bring this in for a landing because it is such workforce development, housing are just such key issues, and kudos to everything that Danville, Pittsylvania County has done. You know, growing up here, as probably everybody else in the room who grew up here, you thought Danville, Pennsylvania County was in the middle of nothing, middle of nowhere. Over the years, and Matt touched on this because of the concentric circles, the 30, 50, 60-mile radius, 1.3 million people, Danville is in the middle of everything. You think about where we're located and the ability to pull in those talent pools and the workforce, we are situated uniquely. And again, I think it's yet another reason why being ready to go with this mega site and everything else that's going on here, 2024 is going to be that transformative year. So mark that down on February 1st. Otherwise, I'll never be able to come back home again unless mom and dad invite me back. In the interest of time and wrapping up, I was going to do a little bit of discussion about foreign direct investment and trade and the role that they play in driving economic development right here at home. But I think we've touched on that enough. I want to pivot and ask one of our guests from the Japanese embassy to come up and help us close. We are so fortunate at Hunton and the consultancy that I lead at the law firm to represent the government of Japan in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And the work that we do with them each and every day. And my colleague, J.R. Smith, a partner at the law firm, is here with me today as well. J.R., we won't check your passport to come in and out of Danville anymore either, since you're now down here. But the work that we do with them each and every day highlight things that are going on in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and to work with them to hopefully attract more business and industry from Japan and more trade opportunities between Virginia and Japan is so critical. And it's why it was so important when Ann and Linda gave us the opportunity to bring them in to learn more about Danville, Pittsylvania County, to include them in the Chamber's annual breakfast. So thank you for working with our schedule to make that happen. Let me recognize them, and I'm going to ask finally our speaker to come up and say a few words. From the Japanese Embassy today, a counselor from the economic section is Kazumichi Nagaoka. First Secretary of the Economic Section, Shotaro Yoshimoto, and last but certainly not least, our speaker, the Minister of the Economic Session, Kosei Nomura. Would you please give them a nice Danville, Pittsylvania County welcome? Yes, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for kind introduction. My name is Kosei Nomura. My title is Economic Minister. I still don't know what minister actually means, but it means the head of the economic section at the embassy, and of course, economic covers ranges of issues. But in Washington D.C., we've been working all those economic-related agenda with the U.S. government and local government, state government, local community, and the private sectors, of course. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I really thank the Chamber of Commerce to let me make this remarks at the annual meeting. It's apparently this is a very big audience. I'm maybe the biggest remarks that I've ever made since my arrival in Washington D.C. So thank you again, and thanks for all the Linda, Matt, and Corrie, and Todd, of course, and JR, for those all the preparation work for today. And well, we arrived here yesterday, and we started our tour from Richmond. Richmond is the capital here. And actually, my boss, Ambassador Yamada, he had the wonderful meeting with the governor, Yankee, yesterday. And they talked about the ranges of the various agendas, and reconfirmed that our strong ties between Japan and the state of Virginia. And that was a wonderful meeting. And as already introduced, yesterday we visited South Boston and had the chance to visit the Hitachi Energy. Thank you for Hitachi friend over there to giving us that opportunity. And we also exchanged some views with the Japanese business people in Richmond. So all those help us understand a lot about the business here in city of Danville and Pittsylvania County. And later today, I have plans to exchange views with the city of Danville, the Pittsylvania County official business people. I'm doing that today here, as well as a tour to the institute. This is wonderful. I thought that this is brand new building actually, but I was amazed that it has been already decades. So I really look forward to the opportunity. And also we just met the JTI friends over there, and we're looking forward to the visiting the company later today. And of course, the mega site. Thank you for very comprehensive explanation. My team, we really look forward to the visit and know more about the mega site today. So I think overall, seeing is believing, that I should say. We have the common saying, I think, so that's why we are here today. So let me introduce some numbers here. The economic ties between Japan and US, it's been growing steadily in recent years. And as you may or may not know, Japan has been actually the largest investor in the United States for 4 consecutive years since 2019. And I have some number. I'm not a data guy, but the totaling the 775.2 billion in 2022. And additionally, Japanese companies created we talked about the workforce, but created approximately 960,000 jobs in the United States in 2021, placing Japan as the second largest, well, not the largest, but the second largest contributor to job creation in the United States. And here in Virginia, we created approximately 13,000 jobs in the state of Virginia in that same year. In particular, the relationship between Virginia and Japanese companies has deepened in recent years. I understand that the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services has been focusing heavily on the increasing agricultural exports to Japan over the last decade. And also the Virginia Economic Development Partnership actually has office in Tokyo for 2 decades. And we, of course, appreciate the proactive efforts of the state government to attract Japanese companies to Virginia, including an economic mission to Japan last April, led by the governor, Yankee himself. And here in Danville, Pittsylvania County, Japanese companies such as Kyocera and JTI have been operating since the late 2000, in the case JTI, and 2016 for Kyocera, creating many jobs and contributing to the local economy. Todd just mentioned about this, the importance of the existing business. So I want to take this opportunity to congratulate JTI and for its announcement last week that it would expand once again with a multi-million-dollar investment and creation of more than 100 new jobs here. Congratulations. So I've been listening to the discussion this morning, and what attracted these the Japanese companies to this area? Well, I think first we of course have to point out that those various tireless efforts of the state government, local government, Chamber of Commerce, and the other relevant stakeholders in collaborating to attract Japanese companies to the area. Indeed, I want to thank economic development leaders of the South Virginia Regional Alliance. Linda, thank you very much. The City of Danville and Pittsylvania County for their visits to Japan over the years to recruit Japanese investment to this area and build stronger relationship between South Virginia and Japan. Again, here is also seeing is believing, I think. And hope that you will take the opportunity to visit Japan again soon to directly communicate the appeal of the region to Japanese companies. And secondly, we can also point to the business-friendly environment of the region. I have heard that I've been hearing a lot about the institute, which actually we will visit later in the tour. Is working to diversify the economy and strengthen its workforce, especially by providing new and young workers with the training and skills they need to get and keep jobs and stay close to home if they would like to. Actually, the shortage of labor is, it's everybody I think aware that it's not only an issue in this region, but throughout the US, not just US, maybe it's globally, but with Japan also facing the same issue. And well, I've been here like 1.5 years in Washington, D.C., but I've been hearing many Japanese companies have expressed this issue of this workforce. So this, I think, honestly continues to be a difficult question, especially in the manufacturing industry, where Japanese companies have established operations here in the United States. So I think the efforts that you just described in strengthening the area's workforce underscore the attractiveness of the region's business environment. So finally, we must not forget, of course, the importance of people. I'm very happy this is my first time visiting the city of Danville, and it's great to meet you all here. And I'm a diplomat. I'm from the Foreign Service, not actually, so I'm not the business guy. I'm not the experts on any kind of business, but I've been doing this diplomat job for more than 30 years, so I know the importance of the connection between people and people. So ultimately matters is, I think, the relationship of trust between people. It is, I think, actually, I'm not sure whether I should say this, but my previous assignment was in China, and I was directly transferred from Beijing to Washington, D.C. So it's really important to have a lot of friends with trust. And I think that also applies to Japanese companies operating here that have been able to integrate into the community. And both groups have been able to benefit from this flourishing partnership. So once again, I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce and Industry for their contribution in cultivating a strong collaboration between Japan and the city of Danville and Pittsylvania County. And I wish for the continued growth of this region in the future. Thank you very much.
Minister Haymore, thank you again for not only making the time to visit and tour, and obviously the other members of the embassy staff for being, but to address us this morning and talk about the relationship between the Japanese government and the United States, but particularly here in Virginia. And Ben Davenport and I looked at each other when you mentioned your previous assignment being in China versus where you are now. I'll bet you wouldn't get this kind of reception in China, would you? Okay, you don't have to answer that. Let me take a point of personal privilege and close before I turn it back to Linda. The curveball that we threw you this morning, having this group discuss and do Q&A, it was a chance to highlight the good work that they're doing. And let me just say, as someone who is involved in economic development in Richmond, statewide, nationally. What an outstanding team you have here with Linda, Corrie, and Matt. I mentioned earlier the law firm represents the government of Japan. We also represent the Virginia Economic Developers Association, so that puts us in touch with economic developers in all corners of the state. I can tell you honestly, there is no one group of people higher regarded as Linda, Corrie, and Matt because of the great work they're doing. So even though you've given them one round of applause, give them another one because we need them to keep going. Thank you. And thanks for letting me come back home for a few hours.
Todd, thank you so much. You all can see why we asked for a twist and turn. You've been patient with us, extending over time. So we're going to turn it over to Ann Moore Sparks. But as we do that, Telly Tucker, there's a vacant chair up here because you're always part of this economic development team. Thank you.
Well, just some closing remarks. I'm a little gobsmacked because, it's such a bright future for our region, and I'm so graciously thankful for you, Todd. And I do have to say, since it was announced that you were coming, I've received many stories of many of your high school friends who are in the audience today. So you're very popular for sure. Matt, Corrie, Linda, thank you so very much. And our friends from the Japanese Embassy, thank you so much for your gracious time today. In closing, I would like you, our members, to know that your chamber is the premier advocate and voice for business in the region. We will follow the strategic plan with fidelity, and in 2024, we will continue to position the chamber to meet the needs, opportunities, and challenges coming with the rapid growth and the evolution of the region. This is good stuff right here. It will start with an exciting new opportunity for small businesses who are chamber members, known as the Wise Choice Healthcare Alliance. Through a partnership with Anthem and the Virginia Chamber, the Alliance is an important step forward in the expansion of access to better health coverage and lower costs for small businesses. Small businesses account for over 58% of the Chamber's membership. You will meet a new team member soon as we hire a special programs coordinator to assist in the management of the short-term cybersecurity grant program. This is a joint initiative between the Chamber and Danville Community College, as we received an $850,000 Department of Labor grant for short-term cybersecurity training at the college. That's huge, guys. In March, you will see a new brand identity, including a new logo and a new website that truly reflects the Chamber's growth and future direction. And as always, we will continue our commitment to high-quality resources and relationships, networking opportunities, and programming based on your needs. Thank you to our members for your support and confidence, to our innovation partners who have helped boost the Chamber's capacity and impact, to our sponsors, PLDR, JTI, Gateway Health. Kedra and Heather, are you out there? I think I forgot to mention you before. Thank you. We love you. And the Lester Group, thank you so much for your confidence. Please know your membership is appreciated. As you leave the meeting today, please remember to pick up a copy of the annual report. On behalf of the board, the Chamber team, the 565 member organizations, and more than 22,000 member employees we serve, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.